Hey everybody, Nerd Transformed here again, and today I'm reviewing the Transformers Armada Sideswipe. I believe this one's actually a Supercon class, but I'll be honest, I don't really remember the size classes for Armada. But this is honestly one of the worst figures in my collection. And to be honest, the only reason I still have it is one, review, two, honestly I had it as a kid, so what he's a Nissan sedan. This is what his vehicle is based on. It's a Nissan sedan, and it's a rather boring looking vehicle. A lot of people really like how it looks, but I can admit it does look really nice for an Armada vehicle. It looks really kind of realistic, but it also is kind of boring. There's no fancy details, there's nothing special about it really. He's just a Nissan sedan. But if you like realistic looking cars, maybe this will do it for you. Starting with the deco, Armada still had a budget, so we actually still have some nice paint apps all over this figure. You can see here he actually has some nice metallic gray for the front grille part. Got some yellow for the headlights with a little bit around the side, some gray right here in the middle, some black here. It's all really nicely done. A little bit black venting detail there. Ooh, the white light balance is really all over the place. Oh, that lights it. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. You do get some silver for the metallic silver for the spoiler, although mine's been smudged a little bit. Red for the back headlight taillights here, and you do get some black down here, but that's from the feet. You do get the rims painted a nice metallic silver as well, and the windows are all tinted in yellow. You do get some little tampograpphs here with the Autobot symbols on each side, and a big one right in the middle that's painted with some red, which is nice because most Autobot symbols from this era didn't get the paint job. Like, if you look at Armada Hotshot here, it's completely blotted out. But that does mean he ends up with 3 Autobot symbols all in the hood because they want to make sure you knew who he was. And if that wasn't obvious enough, half of the deco got wiped away from some alcohol, I guess. I'm not sure what happened to that, but probably something from my childhood messed it up. But it did say Transformers across the top here. And you can still see the Formers part right there. So yeah, for some reason they decided to put and it's not like a sticker or something. This is actual deco tampoed onto there. In black with silver writing, it said Transformers across the top right here. So yeah, not sure what's going on with that. And since I did show Hotshot, size comparison, there's Armada Hotshot. And here is Moving One Swindle, just because I have him on hand, who's a deluxe class. So you can see about a little bit bigger than like what a current deluxe kind of fits in. This was like the $10 figure, so it's basically the Armada equivalent to a deluxe. And through those yellow tinted windows, you can also see his face, which is a pretty common problem. So yeah, not the best figure, and kind of just to show a sign of how kind of bad this figure is, all of his repaint / remolds are Decepticons. All 3 of his repaint / remolds are Decepticons. Let that sink in. This is the only Autobot version of this figure, and every one following is a Decepticon. That should tell you how kind of infamous, evilly bad this figure is. So, and of course, because it's Armada, we have gimmicks. Starting up here at the front, you press down the button here. Sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. There we go. You get this, it's supposed to be like a punch attack kind of thing, but it's basically a dragster mode. I mean, you have these 2 front halves come together, you can actually peg them back together. And now you have like a dragster mode. It's supposed to be attack because I mean it does both sides do spring forward. You can say it's some kind of lunge attack, or you can claw gravity thing, but it's basically just a dragster mode. So there's that. His other gimmick in this mode, back here, there's a little yellow button you can press, flip it out, and there's his Minicon. You can see it just simply folds back. Minicon. And here you have your Minicon, who I can't remember the name of. He's a little motorcycle. I think his name's like Night Scream or Night. It's like Night something, I think. I can't remember off the top of my head. But he himself actually has some nice little details. I mean, he actually has the front little headlamp painted in red, which is nice. He's got little handlebars. You can even see like a little gas cap there. He's got the piping for a motorcycle. He's a nice little, motorcycle chopster. Pretty classical motorcycle. But then he transforms. And when you transform him, gonna bring the pipes down from his legs, bring this hinge down to make it more flat, I guess. Pull the headlight back, fold it up and down like that to make its head. The head and the waist are on the same rotation, so you rotate this way. Go and bring this out on a double hinge and then up like that to make his shoulder. And there you have him in his little robot mode, and yeah, he's freaking ridiculous. Really nice motorcycle mode, but it completely sacrifices the Macon's robot mode because he looks like complete crap. Not even trying to be mean, honestly, I don't think anybody thinks this robot mode looks good. Kind of fun, kind of quirky, a little silly. Not good, though. And, I mean, you could say he has articulation, his little leg can do that, his waist and head are on the same, but you can use it for articulation if you want. He can look up if you want. He does have hips. He does actually have a ab crunch if you want to count it from the transformation. So you do actually have a little bit of articulation. He can be kind of hard to stand though because he has these really weird little feet from the pipes, but he does stand. But, you know, really easy to knock over. For the rest of this review, he's just going to stay in his little motorcycle mode because let's be honest, that's the mode you're going to want to keep him in anyway. Plus that's the mode that you can do all Sideswipe's gimmicks with when he gets the robot mode. So, just kind of crunch them all back up into this. Now you got him back in his little motorcycle mode. I don't believe there's any gimmicks in this mode. I mean, there's supposed to be like a gimmick where this is a springboard. Where he's supposed to pop off of this button here. But I don't think it actually works. Both his gimmicks you saw are the flippy thing and the dragster mode. So we're pretty much done there. He does actually have two accessories. He has a gun and a little kunai knife here, if you want to call it that. That can actually store on the underside here. Oh yeah, and this is all clear plastic, so this is actually all painted, but it's also very easily broken, so it kind of sucks in a way. And you see these weapons are also in clear plastic. They are stored down here, and this kunai knife is extremely difficult to get into this peg, because it only fits in this one. They can't swap because of how much the spacing there is for it. And it can be very difficult to get that little knife in there. But we're going to go ahead and go on the transformation now, and for transformation you actually do already have to have this flipped out, so if you don't, remember, hit the button, done. Go ahead and flip out his little feet here. They're going to come to the top now, and I flipped out the feet just to make it easier to stand them up like this. And this whole window section is tabbed right under where that big button was. And it does include the sides here, so the whole windshield, the top and the sides will come, the doors, everything comes down, the weapons might pop out. It folds down like that as a big chunk of kibble just hanging off. Then you're going to split the bottom of the vehicle. Comes out on a double hinge, kind of Combiner War style, but going sideways to form his legs. Oh, and I hit the little dragster mode button. That's going to happen pretty often. Come to the top here, pull these up the front hood apart. You're just going to bring it down like so. Bring the arms outward. This whole piece rotates down, and then just flip the last little hood piece down, and that gives you Sideswipe. Oh, and don't forget his head actually is on a slide, so it slides forward to the middle, and that's Sideswipe in his robot mode. Just one last thing, his name is Sideswipe with a space in the middle. It's not Sideswipe, it's Sideswipe. There is a space in his name, kind of weird. Also, some early production runs actually showed him with no space in the middle, so kind of depends on which version you got, I guess. But there is this Sideswipe in his robot mode. Alright, now we got Sideswipe in his robot mode. Let's go ahead and get comparisons out of the way. Once again, here he is next to Hotshot, who's also kind of an infamously bad Armada figure, but he still leagues better than Sideswipe over here. Here he is next to Movie Swindle for a modern deluxe comparison. So you can see he is about a deluxe size. And just for even more modern, here he's next to a little Titan Master. Just to give you a good idea. I wonder if the Titan Master could ride the little motorcycle. And he doesn't get the legs for it, but you know, you could have the arms out. Kind of have him riding it. Fun little things you probably do with modern combination thing. But here's Sideswipe in his robot mode, and my god, those proportions are just horrendous. Though, I'm all for quirky figures. I think there's a lot of cool, weird little quirky figures out there. I like some weird figures, but this just does not work in the slightest. I like weird stuff like Tankor, or weird stuff like a lot of the Cybertron figures that have odd proportions like Jetfire. This is just a mess. I mean, for one thing, his arms this is the farthest his arms can come down to the side, and they're having to be at the full, as far out as they can just to stay here. He has the entire top of the vehicle just hanging off of his legs, off to the side. I do like his weapons actually store where it looks like you could grab them, but it just looks bad. And he has these huge hips and huge arms, but then he has these really tiny, thin little legs and upper arms and shoulders. It all just looks so weird and bad. It's just, why would you do this? It honestly looks like he tried to do a Popeye thing and then did it extremely badly. Like, talk about skipping leg day or arm day. Oh my god, did you not stretch before you exercise? Did all the muscle get stuck down here? But looking at the figure itself, I mean, he does have some paint, you know. Face is done up with some blue for the shades and some black for the crest, although it does not go any further than the front. No real deco anywhere else, actually. There is a little bit of silver here on the bottom and some orange here next to the feet. So there's a little bit of that, but everything else is plastic. Granted, I mean, all this was painted, but now on the outside, it's just... I'll give this. The orange plastic does kind of help hide this kibble, at least. You don't notice it quite as much. I'm going to go ahead and pop those accessories off. You can actually see where it's already starting to crack the plastic right there where the weapon was. But he can hold his weapons. He's got this little tiny pea shooter pistol, and it looks kind of ridiculous in his giant hand, because little tiny hand, or little tiny gun, big massive arm. But, you know, he can hold it. He can also hold the little kunai. I'm going to call it a kunai because that's what it looks like to me. It looks like one of those Naruto-style kunais, and you can stab. It's not often we get knives with Transformers, so it's a pretty neat little different accessory, especially for an Autobot. But it can also work as a bayonetta and attached to the front of the gun, and now we have an even more ridiculous looking weapon, especially in the huge fucking mallet of a hand he has here. Sorry for the cuss words here, but this is a really ridiculous and bad toy. This is... If you like quirky figures, you'll probably like him, but he is just... not for me. I don't like him. Articulation-wise, his head does not move at all. It can slide, so you can do... like you got a club, but, you know, other than that, you can't do anything. The shoulders do rotate, but there's a gimmick that's going to start clicking if you rotate them too much. But he can rotate them. Its arms can go inward, so if you want that, but you're kind of stuck with them out here because his hips actually get in the way. You do actually have a ball joint, but it's completely useless because of how it's shaped. I mean, you can swivel, which is nice, but you can't actually do any articulation with the elbow. I mean, you can get some. Like, here's the basic, and you can get about that far forward. Like, I'd say about maybe 20 degrees, 15, 20 degrees. And you can see the ball joint can go further, but because of how they shaped it, you just can't. They trapped the ball joint within there. And this was after Beast Wars, so they knew what they were doing with ball joints by this point. The hips do go forward and back, and they do go outward. So he does have some nice leg movement. No knees, though. I mean, you can have some inward, sideways knee action if you want, but that doesn't really work. And you can technically see his feet articulation, but it's such a tiny foot for... It's kind of the same problem he has with the gun in his hand. It's such a tiny foot for a huge leg. It's not really useful. Not that you could really do much posing. He has these little stubs sticking out the back of the cars that way, help with his balance. And I'll give him that. He does not fall over very easily. He does have some balance. But the proportions just take a lot to get through. And for all these weird proportions, he has gimmicks. Yep, Armada's MO of gimmicks. Oh, remember that motorcycle gimmick? Yeah, it doesn't do anything here. It just sits back here, where it just stays there. What about the jumpy gimmick? Nope, does not work here. It's just, yeah. However, the hood gimmick does still work here. It actually makes more sense here, because you can kind of, boom, punch. You can even kind of fold the bumper up like this if you want, and give him some huge, just bumper slapping action. But yeah, this kind of does work here. I mean, it's still a ridiculous gimmick. It still sucks that it uses up the car mode and makes this huge kibble on his arms, but at least it is still usable in both modes. And it does, I could see this actually working as a big, like, power punch kind of thing going on. Oh, he does have one more gimmick that wasn't available from the car mode. This big old Maycon port. The only one that really uses a Maycon besides the flipping gimmick. But this is the only one you actually need a Maycon for to activate. And what you do, you put the little bike or any Maycon relay on his back, push it down, and he swings his arm. Bam. Hulk smash. Hulk smash. Sideways, or no, side Sideswipe smash while going so now. Yeah, so that's his big gimmick in robot mode, is that you can make his arm flip back and forth, which, I mean, it is an attack certainly, but you saves me all the trouble of that. And doesn't do it for both arms. So you could at least like have the arms constantly rotating, like he's constantly doing a bashing attack. I think it might work better, but considering it's just doesn't really work. Plus the knife can't really, I mean, I guess you could shank someone with the knife, I guess. I mean, let's see if it works better with extended arm. It also only does it for his right arm. I mean, it works a little bit better. Still pretty ridiculous. Still pretty dumb. So that's Armada Sideswipe for you. Probably the worst Transformer figure I own. I'm not 100% sure if he's the absolute worst, because honestly, I do have some pretty bad figures, but he's easily top 5. And I would also even say top 10 worst of all time kind of thing. He's a pretty bad figure. His articulation's completely hampered. All of his gimmicks are just everywhere, and in his robot mode, he's just kibble, and gimmick. There's just not a lot nice to say about this figure. If you do really want this mold, get the like Run Amok version. That one at least has a cool color scheme. Because even his color scheme here really isn't that good, especially all this gray. So yeah, that's Sideswipe. I honestly cannot recommend him at all. And like I said, if you do, for whatever reason, like quirky figures, and you do want versus mold, get the Cybertron Run Amok version. That one at least has a cooler head sculpt and a cooler color scheme. Especially in vehicle mode, he looks a lot cooler there. So yeah, do not get this figure. Do avoid at all costs, I would really say. This has been Retransformed. I hope you enjoyed this review, and hope you have a good day. Take care.